Fun fact, King of the Hill is a show that I think is really good. King of the Hill has lots of likable characters, even with their bad traits. And I think there's one episode that captures this exact idea, with the season 5 episode, Ho. Yeah. For context, King of the Hill is an adult animated comedy about a family of rednecks casually going through the day-to-day life in one of the hottest places on earth. Unlike most animated comedies with gross, edgy, or mean-spirited humor, King of the Hill is wholesome. The show tackles certain issues and topics in a way that I find nice, because the episode we're going to talk about is also nice. The Ho Yeah episode starts off with Hank getting a call from a customer about the new girl, Tammy, being a dumb ass. She then meets Peggy. Peggy wants to go out for lunch with Hank, but can't because of the dumbass new girl. So she goes to lunch with Tammy instead.
I'll get my hairspray.
Tammy talks about moving from Oklahoma to get her GED. Let's see if the statement holds up. In response, Peggy invites someone she just met into her home for dinner. Peggy wants to tutor Tammy to get her GED. At her place, Tammy says she was kicked out of her apartment, which Peggy tells Hank to let Tammy stay with them until she finds a new place.
Not my den.
Tammy! Hank and I just discussed it, and I insist that you stay with us until you find a new place.
What? But
This leads to her running around the house in those mini skirts and getting top quality road service from strangers. In return, Tammy decides to give them money for using all of their shit.
That makes the score Peggy Hill 1, and people who doubt Peggy Hill 0.
Later, Hank feels guilty in believing he's showing off his happy marriage in Tammy's face, so he decides to introduce Tammy to some of the single guys on his route.
She is gonna make someone a great wife.
He introduces Tammy to Lane Prattley, the owner of a car dealership, and they hook up. Then she later plans to go on a date with another guy. Then Cotton shows up. He talks to Tammy.
For real? Yeah, big goddamn. Do I know you?
I don't think so.
You ever worked Houston?
No.
Vegas?
No.
Tijuana?
No.
You ever banged my cock?
I think I would have remembered you.
Hank questions Tammy.
I thought you were going out with Lane Prattley tonight.
I am. After my date with Miles.
Tammy gives Hank a gift and Peggy a redesign. After the extra money Tammy got on her dates, Hank decides to use the money to pimp out his sweet new ride. Hank finds Reverend Stroop.
Reverend Stroop?
Hank?
She's my favorite.
Hank notices Tammy is in trouble and decides to save the day.
Now, what's the problem here?
This hose bag owes me money.
You mess with her, you mess with me. Now hand over the money. I'm not gonna ask you twice. Hand over the money.
Nice car. We're cool, okay?
Yeah, we're cool. Now beat it.
After the altercation, Tammy and Peggy go to the library.
Dude, check out the feet on the one on the left. It's gotta be a guy.
Then the episode goes from good to pimpin'. Alabaster Jones, who is voiced by Snoop Dogg, confronts Hank and tells him everything.
The main Mac Daddy of Oklahoma City, Miss Tammy Duvall, works for me, shaking J's down for bills. Pretty sweet little operation you got going on for a small town player.
Oh, son of a...
She's my hoe, and I better have my hoe in my car, ready to go back to my hood in 1 hour, or you're gonna be my hoe. You dig?
Hank rushes to his sweet new ride, then goes to the library where Tammy and Peggy are at. He calls out Tammy about Alabaster coming to his house.
Alabaster came by my house.
I love how terrified he sounds.
Tammy's pimp. She is a prostitute.
Hank, that is a terrible thing to say. Why would you even think that?
Because Tammy is a hooker.
No way!
That makes the score Peggy Hill 1, and people who doubt Peggy Hill 1.
While trying to drive home, White Snoop Dogg shows up.
What the? Alabaster.
This isn't a complaint, but it was at this point where I noticed how often the characters grunt in this episode. Beautiful. Hank tries to escape White Snoop Dogg by tricking him into stopping at a red light.
Look, he ran a red. You can't can't do that.
Hank is too pure for this world. Tammy convinces Hank to pull over, and then, the final confrontation unfolds. Hank roasts the hell out of White Snoop Dogg.
You get the hell out of my hood. She's my hoe now.
White Snoop Dogg leaves, and that's the end of the episode. Overall, it's legendary. Good setup, good use of gags, good use of existing characters, good fan service, and that's why Ho Yeah is the best episode in King of the Hill.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what? I'm about to bust.